Good morning. I'm going to call to order the public meeting for June 26, 2018 of the Arapahoe County Board of County Commissioners. To my left is Ron Carl, the county attorney. To my far right is Jolene Sanchez, assistant clerk to the board. And it's on. Okay. And also Gail Stumple is here today too. So, Ms. Sanchez, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Sharp?
Here.
Commissioner Conti?
Good morning.
Good morning. Commissioner Baker?
Here. And Commissioner Jackson, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, thank you. Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Carl, are there any modifications to the agenda this morning?
There are no modifications to today's agenda.
Thank you very much. I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Sharp, seconded by Commissioner Holland. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or objections? Seeing none, that motion carries. We have a couple of ceremonies this morning, retirement ceremonies. The first one is for Jeannie Gallardo, and Darcy Kennedy will be reading into the record. Good morning, Ms. Kennedy.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Please adjust the microphone.
Okay.
That way you are.
Yeah, we want everybody to hear.
Yes.
Get the professional here. Thanks. Okay, so whereas Jeannie Gallardo began her career with Arapahoe County on June 23, 1988, and retired on June 1, 2018 after nearly 30 years of valuable service in the Community Resources Department. And whereas Jeannie started her career with Arapahoe County working in the temporary pool assigned to the Employment and Training Division, which is now called Arapahoe Ducks Works, of the Community Services Department, performing fiscal duties associated with the Summer Youth Employment and Training Program. And whereas Jeannie then became a regular full-time Arapahoe County employee on July 1, 1989, when she was promoted to an admin clerk 1 position. And whereas Jeannie was then given more responsibility and promoted to a fiscal clerk position where she processed accounts payable and timesheets. And whereas in 2005, Jeannie then transferred to the new Administrative Services Division of the Community Resources Department, working tirelessly for an additional 13 years as a fiscal clerk and time administrator. And whereas Jeannie is currently a key member of the Administrative Services Division and will be missed by her teammates. Whereas Jeannie's outstanding work ethic, dependability, unwavering dedication to high quality, institutional knowledge, skills, and personality have touched many people here at the county. And even though she will be greatly missed, the community resources staff is certain she will enjoy her retirement, spending more time with her family and developing many new hobbies. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Arapahoe County, the board, do I read this part? Okay, sorry. The Board hereby officially recognizes the contributions that Jeannie Glatter has made as a valuable employee of Arapahoe County and hereby declares that her future shall prosper as Arapahoe County has under her dedication and service.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. I understand she can't be.
She can't. Her health is not such that she felt comfortable coming. So, but I'll tell you, I've been with the county almost 27 years, and I have supervised Jeannie for probably about 25 of those years. So I know her really well, and she's going to be missed. She was a great employee.
Thank you very much. I will make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor? Aye. And there are no objections to that, I'm sure. Commissioner Jackson.
No objection, but I think maybe you could give Jeannie our best regards and wish her luck in the future.
Any other commissioners? Okay, we have one other retirement ceremony. This one is for John Hauer, who has served the county and the office of the District Attorney, 18th Judicial District, for nearly 36 years. George, did you want to read into the record, or would you prefer I do that? Excellent. All right, definitely. So I will be reading into the record. Whereas John Allen Hauer began his employment with the Office of the District Attorney as a Deputy District Attorney on September 1st, 1982. After having served honorably in the United States Air Force for 8 years. During John's tenure with the office, he has held a variety of crucial positions, including Chronic Offender Program Prosecutor, Trial Skills Deputy, Chief Deputy District Attorney of County Court, Chief Deputy District Attorney of District Court, and Capital Murder Prosecution Team member in 4 separate capital murder trials, among others. And whereas John has been an invaluable and devoted member of the Arapahoe County, 18th Judicial District, and State of Colorado law enforcement family. And whereas John has trained countless lawyers on the ethical, professional, and responsible practice of prosecution, always putting our community's victims first. John's dedication to the practice of prosecution is reflected in the myriad recognitions from his peers, his impact on thousands of survivors and victims of crimes and their families, and his part in holding hundreds of violent offenders accountable in amassing thousands of years of incarceration to protect our community from victimization. And whereas the idiom of wearing the white hat was taken to new levels of meaning and impressed upon generations of prosecutors through John's patronage, stewardship, and mentorship over the course of almost 36 years as a prosecutor. And whereas through his unrelenting pursuit of justice, his self-sacrifice, his intelligence and integrity, and his boundless compassion for the community and his peers, John has left a legacy that will indelibly remain. And whereas although John will be sorely and sadly missed by his peers and his service missed by the community, he will now enjoy a well-deserved retirement with his high school sweetheart and loving wife of 52 years, Jana, and spend more time as a proud father to his wonderful son, John Jr., and his daughter, Bonnie Jean. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Arapahoe County to officially recognize the contributions of John Allen Hauer that John Allen Hauer has made to the citizens of Arapahoe County as a valued employee of Arapahoe County and the 18th Judicial District, and hereby declares that his future shall prosper as Arapahoe County and the 18th Judicial District has prospered under his dedication and service. John, would you please come forward? Please come forward. We'll give you a few minutes to talk in just a second, but we're going to finish up the details here real quick. So, is there a motion to approve?
I move to accept the resolution.
Motion made by Commissioner Holden?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or objections? Seeing none, we just want to say thank you. You have the microphone for a few minutes if you'd like to say a few words.
I'm a lawyer. But seriously, I had not really thought much about what I might say at this point in time, but I will tell you this, that it has been an unbelievable honor and privilege for the last 36 years. Thousands of times I stood up in court and entered my appearance as John Hauer for the people of Arapahoe County. And that is an honor that cannot be overestimated, to have represented the people of this county and this state for 36, it's hard to believe it's been 36 years. I think that I've discovered what makes time fly, and that is when you're having a good time and doing a good service, and I think I've done both. So I am greatly honored, and thank you so much for this honor. It was totally unexpected.
Commissioner Holden.
John, I am very impressed by your dedication and commitment to the people of this county, and also want to thank you for your military service. I know that George hires a lot of vets, and he's actually received a national award from the ESGR Department of Defense program for doing such. You exemplify what true commitment to this country and this county, and the principled stance that you have taken over your 36-year career. I'm honored to know you. I'm honored to emphasize the great legacy of judicial competence that you're leaving this county, and we're going to miss you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments? Commissioner Sharp.
Turn this on. Yeah, I think what you said is so important, representing the citizens of Arapahoe County, and sincerely appreciate that. There have been, I'm sure, so many, probably some really interesting cases over 36 years that you probably still remember and have a chance to talk about interesting ones. But thank you very much. It's an honor to have had you, work here in the county and represent us so well. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful time in retirement. And we have to say all these things before our DA gets up here. And so no telling what he'll say. So
Thank you very, very much.
George, come on up and
Always make way for the boss.
Thank you for giving me just these 40 minutes to talk about fireworks. No. Just for some perspective here, when John began his prosecution career, I was beginning 7th grade. Just saying. This judicial district has only been around since 1965, and it hasn't had a full-time district attorney since, only starting in 1968. The bulk of the time that this office has been around, we've had a John Hauer here. The changes that he has seen in the jurisdiction, in the size of the office, in the demands on prosecution are unprecedented in the state of Colorado, as you well know. This jurisdiction has been one of the most dynamic, challenging jurisdictions, fastest growing in this area. And all along the way, John Hauer has been there. It has been a great honor for me to get to be the elected district attorney for this office and to inherit John Hauer in the last 6 years of his career. But I will tell you, despite all the great things, and they're admittedly great, that he has done in prosecution and all the wonderful words in the resolution, I want to tell you that my lasting memory of John is as a justice seeker on a different side of this. I, some years ago, was a criminal defense lawyer, and I had a client who was a young man who was accused of a very serious crime. And it was a case that had developed a sort of momentum, and it seemed like it was inevitable that this thing was going to end up in trial. But something happened between the time that this case was filed by this very office and by the time it resolved, and that was John Hauer was temporarily assigned to be the chief over this particular unit. I got a call one day out of the blue, unsolicited, from Chief John Hauer, and he called and said, I'm going to do my impression of your voice. All right? I don't mean any disrespect. It's just the only way I can do this. George, I'm taking a look at this case, and I've got some concerns. And I want to take more time to look at it and get back to you on it. And he did. And he got back to me, and there are two prongs for prosecutors, touchstones, that we have to achieve before we can move forward. One is good faith basis to believe that a certain person has committed a crime that we've accused them of, and two, a reasonable likelihood of success at trial. John called me back, and again, all unsolicited, and said, I'm taking a look at the case, and I don't think we can move forward ethically. I don't think we can continue to prosecute. And there was many more details involved in it. But at the end of the day, he made the decision to dismiss the case. And I remember coming off the phone with that, and this is before I'd even ever deployed to Iraq, let alone run for DA in 2011. And I remember thinking, you know what? That is a real prosecutor. That is a prosecutor who is invested in justice, because we don't make widgets. We don't just send people to prison. We don't just convict people. We are in the justice business. And that is all the great things in that resolution, but it's the other end of the spectrum too, and that is somebody who recognizes when not to use government authority. And from that moment forward, John, you have had really my unyielding, undying respect, because I thought, this is the real deal. This is inspirational kind of stuff. And I'm sorry you're leaving. I wish I could talk you into staying, at least till I leave, you know. But I get it, man, and I'm happy for you to get to go spend more time with your family. Thank you, commissioners, for this. Thank you.
We're going to send him off with a round of applause, and then we're going to take a short recess for a photo opportunity out in front, and then we'll come back for citizen comments.
Thank you so much.
Somebody will let us back in.
Just not twice.
This is the Kiowa Creek. It's the one that got the late edition. First public hearing. Yeah, it got changed late yesterday.
Thanks, how are you?
Good.
Trying to buy a condo, but I don't think it's gonna work out. This guy's asking an nominal lake for 1 bedroom. It's an expensive place. Well, I found this place a couple of years ago, and I told the guy, you know, if you ever decide to sell it, let me know. Well, he decided to sell it, but I didn't think he was gonna come in that high. Yeah. It's $200,000 for a 1 bedroom condo. I'm like, no, I'm not paying that much. It's ridiculous. You know, and so, yeah, so I'll probably, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I've got, my mom wants me to go stay with her, but, she's, her mom's sick, she's got cancer. So, you know, my boyfriend's dad, he's on chemo. My uncle does vacation.
Okay.
We may have to send somebody out there.
Yeah, search and rescue party, please deploy to get the other commissioners in. Thank you. We actually have a designated search and rescue person.
Let's see, where am I? Okay. Now we are just still at the beginning.
You're supposed to know the place. That was the secret.
I see. The secret knock. Kathleen will be right here.
Okay.
We'll get Kathleen again.
Yes.
How's Debbie?
She's doing great. There was no, she knew what was going to happen. We knew it way at the time. But she did I think one of the best presentations.
She did a good job.
And to this morning, she got at 7:30, headed for another meeting.
I know. We were texting this morning. We were texting this morning. I sent her a note.
Okay. We're back from the recess, and we've reached item number 5 on our agenda, which is the citizen comment period. Citizens are invited to speak to the commissioners on non-agenda items. There is a 3-minute time limit per person, unless otherwise noted by the chair. And so if there's anyone here that would like to address the Board of County Commissioners on anything that's not on the agenda, then please make yourself known to me. Ms. Roberts, please come forward. And we'd like you to state your name and address for the record. Is that okay with you, sir? Then that would be okay. So we'll set the timer for 6 minutes.
Thank you.
Good morning. And if you'd state your name and address for the record and keep your eye on the yellow light, and the red light will come on when you've used your time.
Becky Roberts, 714 in Bowden Mile Road, Watkins. I'm again speaking about the Swan well site. We waited 10 weeks for Arapahoe County to answer our questions, only to be told, quote, at this time we are ending formal comment. Matt Sura, attorney representing Watkins Farm, has written a response. I have presented it to you today. We are afraid that our concerns will go unread, so I want to put some responses on record. Page 11, the answer, agreements with the surface owner largely determine the locations of oil and gas pads. This statement is certainly true if our local government does not engage with oil and gas operators. Watkins Farm HOA requests an opportunity to present examples of how engaged local governments from all over the Front Range have altered and improved oil and gas locations. Page 12, answer, the minerals under the Swan site are in a separate drilling unit from the minerals under the land to the south. While the answer provided by the county is an accurate statement, it is not true that Conoco is prohibited from drilling from a pad located outside a drilling and spacing unit. In fact, this happens all the time. Watkins Farm HOA would like an opportunity to present evidence of other locations to access the minerals targeted by the Swan pad. Page 12, answer, the Public Works and Development Department has made the determination not to require a formal alternative site analysis. The county has its own land use authority and is not preempted from requiring additional information from any land use applicant through Code 13-903.10. Watkins Farm HOA respectfully requests an opportunity to present information in an open public hearing. Page 13. The mineral rights owners, facility operator ConocoPhillips, and the surface owner Prosper Farms have stated that they have done the work necessary to locate the well site, will not relocate the site, and that the company will not undertake additional work to prepare a formal alternative site analysis. The statement flatly admits that Arapahoe County will only require what Conoco and Prosper are willing to do. Why are Prosper Farms and ConocoPhillips given such deference? Arapahoe County has regulations and the duty to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of its residents. It appears as though the county has allowed itself to be bullied by this industry. Page 25, bullet point 4. Answer, the county's written response to the community question of why the county conducted an open house format rather than a presentation format. I asked this question, and the answer that Jan wrote to me on April 4th, 2018 was not included in the written response document to the community. She wrote, quote, the reason is that we don't want to falsely give people the impression that this is a public hearing. The county has repeatedly refused any public hearing because ConocoPhillips demands an open house. Does Arapahoe County let Conoco tell them what to do? County elected officials are not being quasi-judicial, but rather quite biased in favor of Conoco. Exactly the reason this requires a public hearing. Quasi-judicial, according to Webster, means the right to hold hearings on and conduct investigations into disputed claims and to make decisions in the general manner of courts. How can you conduct investigations and make decisions in the manner of courts if you won't have a public hearing? Are elected officials quasi-judicial when you take campaign contributions from oil and gas applicants and from the owner of Prosper Farms? When Mr. Vogel presented Prosper Farms' preliminary development plans and final development plans at the county public hearings between January 2015 and July 2017, was the 2014 surface use agreement document included? I was there, and it was not. 1. Either Prosper intentionally kept the document secret from the county in all their public hearings, or 2, the county knew about the 2014 surface use agreement and the county intentionally kept it secret from Watkins Farm residents. Is this the reason for refusing a public hearing? The Department of Public Health and Environment stated it recommends, quote, an alternative site analysis be done that closely examines the ability of the operator to extract the minerals from another location that is more acceptable to all parties. This department has commented on hundreds of oil and gas locations. This rare statement by our state's authority on public health and safety should be all that the county needs to require an alternative location analysis and a public hearing. Conoco stating, quote, "It is firmly committed to the position that an alternative site analysis cannot be provided," is pretty arrogant, even for an oil and gas company. John Denver in 1990 wrote these words, "The oil king sits on his arrogant throne, away and above and apart. Lawyers have warned him he mustn't speak, and greed has made silent what once was a heart. You say you are a quasi-judicial body that cannot comment to us, and you can't do an on-site investigation. But you can plan, negotiate, and communicate with Conoco and Prosper, who both need your approval, yet you can't communicate with county residents. Shame. Without a public hearing, maybe it's time to try this in the court of public opinion." Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Are there any other citizens that would like to address the board on any issue? Come forward and please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Margie Wright, and I live at 34755 East 10th Drive, and I am wholeheartedly supporting what has been said here from the Watkins residents, and I am giving my 3 minutes to the walk-ups who have exceeded their 3 minutes. So, thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Cody Walkup. I live at 34542 East 7th Avenue. I only need about 40 seconds additional in my 3 minutes. So the way that Arapahoe County has handled the SWAN application has been quite sobering, as I was under the naive impression that the county cared about its citizens' safety and health. The FAQ document that took forever to produce is filled with non-answers, inaccurate statements, and incomplete statements. It's clear to me the objective was to pacify our community long enough to approve the site through the administrative process, rather than actually addressing our concerns. We've been told Arapahoe County requested the Bennett-Watkins Fire Rescue not respond to our questions and concerns regarding safety as they would be addressed in the FAQ document. The problem is you really didn't touch on our safety concerns. There are plenty of concerns I'd like to really address, but the most egregious to me is that Arapahoe County is adamant that having the proposed northern emergency access road locked will not impact our community's ability to utilize it in the event of an emergency, as both gates will be able to be unlocked in 6 minutes. You even put this claim in bold type in the FAQ. Is this your hope or just a guesstimate? Where did this 6 minutes come from? Where is the response performance data for the department that would be unlocking these gates? We've asked for this data for months and have received absolutely nothing. Our community knows what their response time is from personal experience, and it's not anywhere close to 6 minutes. To keep telling our community that the gates will be unlocked in 6 minutes is negligent at best. I've asked for their alarm handling time in the dispatch center, their performance time for turnout time, their performance for travel time, and their performance for total response time at the 90th percentile. These are standard metrics used to measure a fire department's response performance. Unfortunately, these haven't been given to us despite repeated requests. I don't believe Bennett-Watkins Fire Rescue could unlock both of these gates in anywhere close to 6 minutes. Based on published response performance metrics, even the largest fire departments with state-of-the-art equipment would have a hard time hitting this mark the majority of the time. These response times don't even include the fact that they would have to unlock the first gate, travel down a gravel road, and unlock a second gate. The only reason the proposed northern emergency access road is to be locked is because ConocoPhillips wants to minimize their road maintenance expense. You're going to put Conoco's maintenance expense over our community safety? Again, who's driving this applicant process? ConocoPhillips or Arapahoe County? Let me just recap the situation. We have an oil and gas company trying to put an enormous oil and gas facility as close as possible to our community. 25 feet closer, and it would automatically trigger an alternative site analysis requirement at the state level. 2, our community has no way out in the case of an emergency except to travel towards this huge oil and gas facility. Both our current access road and Conoco's proposed emergency road would take the entire community closer to the very danger we're trying to escape. 3, the proposed oil and gas site has no water supply. Any water needed would have to be trucked in. We're told this risk has been mitigated because Conoco has a contract with a water company. Nobody can tell us the response time for this contractor. I'm guessing it would be measured in hours as opposed to minutes. 4, our community relies on a small rural fire department with limited capabilities. Bennett-Watkins Fire Department is not ISO or NFPA certified. The FAQ states they are compliant with some NFPA standards, but fails to mention which ones. I'm willing to bet it's not the response time standards of the NFPA. 5, Arapahoe County confirmed they have no written emergency response plan or evacuation plan for the site. According to the FAQ, there will be one produced possibly next year. Shouldn't this be in place prior to approving this application? Based on what I've seen so far from the FAQ and the last year and a half I've been dealing with Arapahoe County, I'm not getting my hopes up in regard to quality or completeness for this future document. Again, please tell us how you're mitigating SWAN's impact to our safety and why this has not been elevated to a use by special review.
Thank you, Mr. Walkup. Any other citizen comments? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. The yellow light will come on when you have 30 seconds left.
And my neighbor gave me 2 of her minutes, so I'll be
welcome.
using those. So I had my speech. I never thought I would be here again. Yes, my name's Melissa Walkup. I live at 34542 East 7th Avenue, Watkins, Colorado. I'm going to read my speech and then I want to just say something. But my house is approximately 1,200 feet from the proposed Swan oil and gas site. 1,200 feet between where my children sleep and potentially the largest oil and gas facility close to a community in Arapahoe County. Arapahoe County, largest oil and gas. To say I'm extremely disappointed in the way Arapahoe County has handled the current SWAN application would be an understatement. I can't help but feel that Arapahoe County has been dragging its feet on the FAQ document, which took over 10 weeks to produce and didn't address all of our safety concerns. The kicker, Arapahoe County retroactively closed the public comment period with the release of the FAQ document, eliminating our ability to comment on record in regards to the incompleteness of the FAQ document. So I want to make sure my comments are on record now. What happened to community engagement and service quality? If you don't know, these make up one of the 6 pillars of your very own Align Arapahoe. My community is not the enemy, yet we've been treated as hostile combatants during the entire application process. We are concerned citizens who deserve to be heard, who deserve to be safe. We do not deserve to be shut down by our county so that you can rubber stamp this through the administration review process. Why hasn't Arapahoe County elevated this application to a use by special review? An unbiased observer would clearly see that this application meets the standards to elevate. This is potentially the largest oil and gas facility impacting an entire community in Arapahoe County. The Arapahoe County Commissioners like to claim they're in a quasi-judicial role, which prevents them from conversing with potential applicants. Apparently that doesn't apply to campaign contributions. Unfortunately, the Board of County Commissioners have received money from ConocoPhillips. Nancy Sharp just accepted a campaign contribution from ConocoPhillips for her re-election campaign. Jeff Baker took campaign contributions from Prosper Farms. Prosper Farms, the very same company that is pushing to have the Swan oil and gas facility shoehorned up against our community so that they can maximize the number of homes they can build. Jeff Baker stated at his coffee with the commissioner that his price tag was higher than what was contributed to his campaign. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. Once a commissioner takes money from an oil and gas applicant or land developer, their judgment at a minimum appears to be biased. This applies regardless of how big or small the contribution is. No one can know for sure if they will remain impartial. We can only judge on actions, and the actions of the Arapahoe County Commissioners are speaking clearly right now. I would be amiss not to bring up Mr. Baker's vote on Prosper Farms' wastewater treatment plant, which in my opinion is indefensible. Why has there not been an alternative site analysis performed for this application? Our community was promised that it would be a requirement by Arapahoe County via email multiple times, including as recently as a couple of months ago. The FAQ basically states that ConocoPhillips doesn't feel like it should have to do one. Is ConocoPhillips driving the review of the application? If the Watkins Farm community donated to your campaigns, would there have been a different outcome? Arapahoe County stated that part of the reason Conoco didn't want to do an alternative analysis was that they didn't want to get our community's hopes up that it would be moved. Seriously? When did ConocoPhillips start caring about our community's feelings? I can assure you that after the dealings we've had with Conoco and Arapahoe County over the last year and a half, we won't be getting our hopes up. ConocoPhillips is adamant that the current location is the only spot they can drill based on the geology, rock formations, etc. They also stated in the FAQ that they are currently only applying for one well because they're not sure if the well will even produce. You can't have it both ways. ConocoPhillips knows the subsurface mineral characteristics of this area better than anyone. You can't throw a rock in unincorporated Arapahoe County without hitting a ConocoPhillips well site. Do you really expect us to believe that is the reason why they're only applying for one well? ConocoPhillips applied for 8 wells in this very location a year and a half ago. 8 wells. Did they misjudge the amount of minerals in Section 6 with their first application, or is this just their way of avoiding increased scrutiny? The Arapahoe County Commissioners have all touted safety as one of their main priorities. Here's your chance to prove it. Quit hiding behind the administrative review process and actually do something for your constituents, the people who you should be representing. And I want to mention, my husband brought up a lot of stuff about safety and emergency response. I'm glad Lieutenant Fogg's here today because that's kind of what started this. You know, Bennett Watkins didn't know that that gate was even going to be locked at the April 4th open house. Captain Connor didn't even know. That was a surprise to him that that gate was going to be locked. I've since talked to the fire chief to ask him about response times, and I love the fire department. My dad was a fire chief for 30 years. I'm a firefighter's daughter through and through, and I know their capabilities. And when I asked Captain Cumley about his response times, he said, I'm going to have to look those up. I have a Medtronics dispatch system, and I'm going to have to get those. And I thought to myself, well, if you don't have them, again, where did the 6-minute time come from? Where did it come from? And, you know, all the questions my husband asked, that's what you guys should be asking. You guys should be asking your OEMs about safety.
Red light did come on, so I need you to wrap up when you can.
I'm done.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Are there any other citizen comments this morning? Seeing none? Sorry. Please come. We're going to be opening up public comment for our fireworks a little bit later. Please take your time. Okay. Please keep your eye, state your name and address for the record, and keep your eye on the lights right here in front.
My name is Vincent Fry, 4301 South High Street, Cherry Hills Village, Colorado. I've grown up in Arapahoe County. I grew up at Columbine Country Club, lived in Cherry Hills, Columbine all my life. And I'm in the event business. I used to be an attorney. So the big tents, all that kind of stuff you see around town, that's me. I want to talk about the fireworks only because I supply the gear for all those guys. And I noticed in your website that that was going to be a very negligible economic impact. Well, I'm going to hear tell you that's not really true. These people that put these things up spend an enormous amount of money. My business is at 1400 Yosemite, also in Arapahoe County, and we employ 50, 60 people. So there's a big economic impact when all the ancillary things that go along with the fireworks don't get supplied, as well as most of these people that do this are small families. I happen to know the Elliott family. I knew Frank Elliott, and I know his son Pete, who now runs the business. They've been doing it for 40 years. They do the chilies, they do the fireworks, and they do Christmas trees over at Broncos Parkway and Parker Road. And when they lose that revenue, it impacts them enormously. And the biggest thing I see is I own property out in Parker, and I go down through Parker Road in Elbert County, Douglas County. They're selling fireworks all over the place. And yet, 5 blocks up the street, we're not allowed to do it. Now, we've had a lot of moisture, and I'm very, very sensitive. I'm a rancher. I got property in the mountains. I was part of the Hayman. I'm very sensitive to fire. But guess what? Banning them in Arapahoe County isn't going to keep them out of Arapahoe County. You know, the Terry Bison Ranch in Cheyenne, you know, Dan Fielder owns it, is right over the border. He's a good friend of mine. He says the number of people coming from Colorado this time of year to buy fireworks in Wyoming is crazy. And they bring them right back here to Arapahoe County or Denver County or everywhere else where they're banned. And yet the county's going to keep from a little bit of sales tax revenue. I understand 1/4 point isn't a lot, but it's going to hurt a lot of small families as well. So I'd just like you to kind of consider that you're not going to really keep them out by banning the sale of them, maybe increasing penalties for people that don't work or use them responsibly would be a more advantageous way of handling the thing. You know, $25 or $50 fine, nobody cares. $1,000 fine, That might make a difference. The liability with a fire, is pretty huge. But I think, we got a lot of moisture in the last week. And I think, I'd really like you guys to reconsider. And I don't have time. I don't know how to find out if you would. But it impacts my business. It impacts a lot of small people. And it is some sales tax revenue. You probably guys can make, $10,000 in sales tax revenue off the fireworks sales in the next 10 days. So, and I don't know what the weather report says or, how you do that. I think the sheriff's office does that. But I presume that there's probably a favorable report. So, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Fry.
You guys, thank you very much. Thanks for hearing me. And is there a way I can find out if you approve that or not? I just would like to know because I got to bill these guys for all the crap I got this empty.
I think, it will be on our website, I assume.
It will be?
I'm getting.
Or maybe I call Mr. Call. Could I call you this afternoon? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments at this time? Seeing none, we have approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes to approve. These minutes are from May 15th, 2018. We did consider them for approval on the June 12th meeting, but we were unable to approve them at that time. These minutes on May 15th, Commissioner Sharp, you were absent. Everyone else was present. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Conti, seconded by Commissioner Holen. All in favor? Aye. Any
One abstention.
abstention? One abstention. Those minutes are approved. We have a consent agenda this morning, item number 7, and all of the letters that are underneath it. Are there any comments or questions about anything that's on the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Second?
Motion made by Commissioner Holen, seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, that motion carries. Under the general business heading, we have one public hearing this morning on the Kiowa Creek Master Drainage Plan. Our presenter this morning will be Kathleen Valencia, and our attorney on this is Robert Hill, Senior Assistant County Attorney. Mr. Hill, would you please set the foundation for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Back on May 22nd, we had the board opened a public hearing on the proposed Kiowa Creek Master Drainage Plan that engineering had prepared and is presenting and is requesting the board's approval. Back on the 22nd, through inadvertence, the public hearing had only been noticed in the Villager. The plan, being in the eastern part of the county, thought it was appropriate to do additional notice in the I-70 Scout. And in order to allow for that additional notice, the board continued the public hearing until today. And now Kathleen's here to present the public hearing, or the remainder of the public hearing. The board has jurisdiction to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Good morning, Ms. Valencia.
So I wasn't actually going to present the presentation again, but I just wanted to say that, I was going to say what Bob said, that we did post today's hearing in the I-70 Scout on June 12th, and Engineering Services Division recommends adoption of the MDP at this time.
Thank you very much. I will open up the public comment, reopen public comment. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the Board of County Commissioners on the issue of the Kiowa Creek Master Drainage Plan? I see none. I will close that public hearing. Thank you very much, Ms. Valencia.
Thank you.
Are there any commissioner comments or questions? I would entertain a motion.
You want to do it?
I can do it. In the matter of the Kiowa Creek Drainage Master Plan for Kiowa Creek and its tributaries within unincorporated Arapahoe County, case number C15-006, I have considered the Engineering Services Division recommendation and reviewed the board summary report. I've listened to all testimony and public comment presented to the board on the request to adopt the Kiowa Creek Master Drainage Plan and find myself in agreement with the Engineering Services Division recommendation. Therefore, I hereby move that the Board of County Commissioners for Arapahoe County adopt the Kiowa Creek Master Drainage Plan as presented to the board, and that said plan shall take effect immediately for Kiowa Creek and its tributaries as identified in said plan.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Holland. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or objections? Seeing none, that motion carries. We have one item under general business items. This is consideration of a possible suspension of the ordinance number 2018-01. This is just a general business item. County Attorney Ron Carl, and then I think we're expecting an update from the Sheriff's Department on the fire danger.
Yes, as stated, this is the consideration of a resolution to suspend the application enforcement of Arapahoe County Ordinance number 2018-01 banning the sale and use of fireworks. There is a draft resolution and a motion in your packet, and Nate Fogg from the Sheriff's Office is here to talk about the fire danger.
Good morning, Lieutenant Fogg.
While I'm waiting for that to switch, I'll make a presentation for you on paper as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In front of you and on the screen is an update on the current and recent weather that we've seen. From last time I reviewed this with you, the fine dead fuel moistures, and we're talking about how the fuels, in our case the grasses, are responding to the conditions that are surrounding them. So a review there. This is what we looked at last time, showing our trending, that the Sheriff's Office Wildland Fire Team takes these measurements. And this has been our trend over those fine dead fuels going back to April 3rd. It ended, again, this is a review on June 10th. The higher the number, the more moisture there is in the fuels, and the less receptive they are to fire. These were our probability of ignition charts from last time as well. Remember that we called that the...
One clarification, I'm sorry. Commissioner Conti.
I'm sorry, you said the more moisture there is in the fuels?
Right. So the greener or the wetter that the grass is, the less receptive it is to fire. So it's measuring how wet or dry
the grass
fuel is. The grass, right.
Okay, fuel, a.k.a. grass.
Right, sorry. Wildland parlance, I apologize. The fuels are the grasses, trees, shrubs.
Sure, I wasn't missing something there.
Right. Good, thank you. We reviewed the probability of ignition last time. Again, these measurements are taken and calculated by the Wildland Fire Team. The higher the number, the worse it is. It doesn't get any higher. As a reminder, probability of ignition is for a currently burning fire for every spark that it flows. Sends out of that fire, how many are going to start an additional fire? So the higher number is 100%. So every ember is going to start a spot fire. The lower number is better, right? Less fires that way. So again, review numbers that ended after the last hearing, and the day before our hearing, which was, I believe, the 12th last time, we were at a PIG of 80, a probability of ignition of 80. So 8 out of 10 embers cast from a fire would start another fire. This was June 11th, our fire danger rating system that is mentioned in statute, and it showed across the county high or very high. And then this was the 12th, the day that we actually had the presentation, and we showed that we were high, very high, and severe as far as fire danger. For today's update, I'll start with what we looked like last week. This was our observed fire danger rating. And it shows, I'm not going to drill into details, but Arapahoe was in the green in this picture. And that means that there was a moderate danger. That was on June 23rd. Today, this is a very similar model. It shows Arapahoe County in the, I'm going to pull up here. Ultimately, that brown color equates to moderate.
We're not seeing it.
That one won't show up in here because it's a live web link. I apologize. That's today. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're into red, which means we're pushing towards red flag conditions. And I apologize, I don't know where. There should be a legend here. Ultimately, red is as bad as it gets for us. Are you not seeing any of this?
No, I'm not seeing any of it. Get that up.
There we go. Well, almost. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Okay. There's Denver, Arapahoe County. This is our line right here, right? That's I-70 there, Deer Trail, Centennial. Okay? That's current conditions. We see a moderate risk. That's as high as their scale goes until we start hitting severe fire behavior.
Moderate risk.
Moderate risk on this one. Wednesday, same thing, and you see that it's starting to change to our south. By Thursday of this week, we are in high risk based on surrounding conditions. Friday as well.
Yeah.
Saturday back to moderate. And Sunday to little or no risk. My estimation, it's foolish terminology to say little to no risk. There's never no risk for fire, ever. But that's the terminology they're used. So currently it's rough, potentially trending, according to this source, back down to little to no risk by the 1st. Get back to my slideshow. So following up with the fine dead fuel moistures that we were talking about, that's the grasses and whatnot here. Oh, boy. Okay. The red box indicates where we left off last time. These have been our measurements inside of the red box since we met last. And it shows that our moistures have been variable. You see the spike up to 8. That was our rate last week. And we dropped back down very rapidly. The humidity was okay, and it kind of trended back up to about 5. Probability of ignition currently, this is for the month of June. The most recent reading we had was yesterday at 4 p.m. That's the very last spike on this chart. Probability of ignition at 4 was 70%. 7 out of 10 embers cast from a fire yesterday would have started additional fires. This was yesterday's map reading based on the severe weather mapping system, right? So we see that the majority of the county was in moderate risk. The eastern half, roughly, was into the high risk. And as of today, we're 2/3 of the counties in a high fire danger. sources for those slides are here. And questions?
Questions for Mr. Fogg? Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I'm noting that I don't know if it's unpredictableness or sometimes it's real high, the danger, and sometimes it's not. And that makes it really hard to make a definitive decision over the course of a summer. Is there a range, or is there a way of averaging, or a way of kind of determining if it's dangerous? Oh, I don't know, 5 out of 8 times, maybe, that's a decision point. Or do we have any guidance? Because it really seems that it's extremely variable. And, I don't want us to be putting in a van one day and taking it out and putting it back in and taking it out, depending on what day of the week it is. So can you give us any guidance on that?
The variability, because of our topography and the geography here in the county, we're largely flat. I say that. There's some pretty big hills out east. And our fuel types, our vegetation is largely grass. We call those 1-hour fuels. They change, literally, they can change from completely non-conducive to burning, so a wet fuel, to a dry fuel in an hour. So that variability is just inherent in our area, in the plains. The 10-hour fuels, which are shrubs and things like that, all the way up to 1,000-hour fuels, which are large cottonwoods for us in our drainages, are less variable. But there's no way for me to say day to day, other than I can, when it's raining or the humidity's high, they're less conducive to fire. To the policy point of bans in and out, that's a great observation. And as a whole, the conditions are dry. Things are receptive to fire. City of Aurora has modeled a prohibition on the sale and use of fireworks that is in my estimation, similar to ours. Centennial has done the same thing. I can't speak for the counties and the jurisdictions outside of ours, but those areas in particular are seeing the same data and interpreting it the same way that I am.
Commissioner Jackson.
Just to follow up then, so you would say overall, because I've been hearing about drought conditions all through Colorado, especially certain areas, but you would say that Arapahoe County is in, maybe not as severe as in the southeast, but in a drought situation?
I don't have drought data in front of me right now. We have been trending to drought. This little bit of rain eased conditions for the period that it rained and immediately after. Here we are several days after the rain now, and we're back into high fire danger. So ultimately, I can't speak to our drought conditions today. I don't have that data.
Commissioner Holden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to commend you for the in-depth efforts that you're taking in this very capricious nature of our fire danger. One question that I had is looking at long-term, well, actually it'd be short-term weather conditions looking through the 4th. Can you comment on that? Is the Weather Service predicting continued high temperatures, or is there possibility of some thunderstorm activity in the next, 4 or 5 days?
Bear with me 1 second, please. I think for the middle and latter part of this week, my understanding is we're supposed to have potentially record-breaking heat.
Yes.
We're under hazardous weather outlook here. Let's see, there's Arapahoe County. Sorry. It's Adams County. There's Arapahoe County. Hot temperatures on the way.
Yeah.
Through the 4th, I don't have. They typically run 7 days out. So I don't have all the way through the 4th.
Right now, the trend is extremely high temperatures. 100 degrees tomorrow predicted, I believe.
Right.
Mr. Fogg, since the last time we met, the sheriff did institute a open burn ban. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the last thing I just want to, so I know there are some other questions, but I'd be looking for a recommendation from you on whether or not you believe. I know you talked a little bit about other jurisdictions, but I know a number of other jurisdictions have also instituted a ban on the use and sale of fireworks. So I'd be looking for a recommendation, but there are some other questions here too. Commissioner Conti.
I just was watching the local weather last night, and they were giving a 30 or 90-day forecast, and I wondered if you had heard such reports or data.
I don't actually watch the local news.
Okay.
I lived it long enough. I don't watch it anymore.
Okay.
And the latest climate, the 90-day climate predictions that I've seen, I presented last time, it has not been updated since then. And that was that we're in for a really, really hot, dry June, and that July was going to trend back to equal chances. So hot, dry, and a lot of dry lightning. With the monsoons are now delayed. So coming out of Douglas County, I've seen that yesterday. The monsoons are not predicted to start affecting weather patterns here for the next couple of weeks. So they're maintaining their conditions, and in fact have put a firefighting helicopter on exclusive use based on those, what they're seeing. And so it's costing them $4,000 a day to have it sit there at $1,200 an hour for rotor time.
Any other commissioner comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Fogg. We appreciate your input. I did just want to make sure I'm reading you right, is that you would not recommend us lifting our ban on the sale and use of fireworks.
Correct. And I was able to speak with the sheriff briefly this morning, and that's his position as well.
Thank you very much. This is not a public hearing, but I will allow a certain amount of public comment. I know there are folks here representing the fireworks industry, and I just want to make sure that as long as you are bringing us any new information or new things that you want us to consider, we'll let you have 3 minutes to speak. So is there anyone that wants to speak on behalf? Okay, come forward, Mr. Witherell. And if you would, please provide your name and address for the record.
Brad Witherell, 7361 Fox Creek Trail, Franktown, Colorado.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Fogg. So one thing we haven't talked about, I don't know if we can.
Jorge, can you bring up the document camera, please?
I'm sorry, I should have done that ahead of time.
That's okay.
Anyway, maybe I'll talk. I've only got 3 minutes, but this is an actual historical data of the actual rainfall that we have received in the month of June for the last 3 years. And I don't know if you can zoom in on that.
It takes a minute to focus, though. There we go.
Anyway, if you look, since June 1st through yesterday, which would be June 25th, we've received 2.37 inches of rain. The average amount of rainfall is 1.7 inches. So we're 40% higher in rainfall for the month of June. That's huge. That's a ton of rain. If you see the red there, which would be June 12th, that's when this ordinance went into effect. And you can see before that there was not a lot of rain, but look at the amount of rain after June 12th. That's huge for us. It's 40% higher than normal. Last year, it was 11% below normal, And the year before that, it was 38% below normal. Now, we were allowed to sell fireworks during those years, so that's what we want you to be aware of, is the amount of rain that we've got. Sunday, we got almost an inch of rain. We got 3 waves that came through, so that was big. This is the Catch Brine Drought Index, the KBDI. This is a national index that at least 16 other states use for their fireworks banning type laws. If you can see, I don't know if you can zoom in, you can see Colorado there. I actually did put Arapahoe County in red, and it's basically under 300 is the KBDI index. This is drought information that you folks were asking Mr. Fogg about. So Arapahoe County is less than 300. If you take the state of Florida, their laws kick in after 700. So as far as the drought goes, which is not day to day, it's a lot more month to month kind of thing. It's the amount of moisture that's in the soil. This is another index. This is the Palmer Drought Index. And again, Arapahoe County is in the white, showing that there is not as big a drought as the southern portions of the state, which you can see are in the tan color. Same drought monitor, just a different company that does it. This is what the state uses. And this is the U.S. Drought Monitor. And again, it shows just a small portion of the county, which is in red, as abnormally dry. Other than that, it is normal for this time of year. This is the same website that Mr. Fogg had used, just a different portion of it. And when we first started talking about a ban a couple meetings ago, this is what they used. It was this is what they thought June would be. Well, this is the actual June. And again, you can see Arapahoe County in red, and it's normal. It shows normal. And I know you folks, you commissioners have seen this. Nate Fogg pulled this up on his website. This is the forecast. So again, with the dry weather coming, it is in the red. But I don't know if you noticed that it gets better through the week, and especially the weekend, it will turn to green. So this is Saturday. Hopefully you can see that. Sunday, half of the county basically is low risk, and then the green is little to no risk. So that's a Saturday forecast. And this is Monday's forecast. It's pretty much the same thing. So even if we were to be able to open, there is no way that we could get open probably till Friday or Monday anyway. Granted, it's going to be in the red the next few days, but then it's going to come right back down into the green, leading into the 4th of July. I'm sorry, but as far out as it goes is Monday, so we don't have anything past Monday. And again, this is from the Sheriff's Office website that he showed you already. The only difference I did was I just outlined where Arapahoe County is. And as you can see, as Mr. Fogg told you, that we are in the green as of today.
Thank you. I do. Your 3 minutes is up, so please wrap.
And that's all I have. With the exception of one other thing, Commissioner Baker, thank you so much for answering all my emails. I sent him so many emails, and he has been very gracious to answer all of them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And again, 3 minutes, please, and keep your eye on the lights up here, and please state your name and address for the record.
Do my best. My name is Britton Cottrell, and 4327 West 31st Street. I do have a PowerPoint that I think they're going to put up, and I just wanted to respond as they're getting ready for that. Just to a couple of the things that Nate had presented here that I wanted to mention. You had mentioned the burn ban that was put into effect since then. After our last meeting, we stood out in the hallway and talked with Nate a little bit, and I said, what's interesting is that fireworks have been banned, but there's not even a burn ban. And his comment was, we were waiting to see what the outlook of this meeting was going to be before we instituted a burn ban. I would think one would come before the other, that if conditions were dry enough for a burn ban, you can institute that without having to have this meeting. So these current conditions forecast for Aurora and Arapahoe County, you'll notice that Nate actually cited David as one of his sources. I imagine you talked to him. This is our climatologist that we use for our company to assess risk in areas moving forward and deciding whether or not to open locations. I think I have some of this has already been, is this right? Okay. So again, we've already talked about the drought monitor. I want to show you this was taken this morning, rainfall in the last 7 days, and you'll notice the index over here. This is Colorado. So this whole area, I think the state is kind of like this. It's like a 4-state region here. But you'll see that it's just in the last 7 days we have received well over 1.5 inches of rain in most areas. We've had severe weather, of course. My car has to get fixed. I don't know how many other people's car has to get fixed. I was way out in East Arapahoe County when the hail hit, hiding under, a little gas station awning, trying to stay safe. But this is a 90-day precipitation departures from normal. So we're looking at 90 days. What's normal for this time of year? I think that's what's important. As we assess risk, we look at over, years prior, what have they allowed us to do? And they've allowed us to do fireworks. And now we look at a season that over this 90-day precipitation departure is actually above normal. So one would think that if it's above normal, we've got more moisture this time of year than we normally do. Why would there be a variance in fireworks sales moving forward? We talked about fire danger class. This is a 7-day, same website Nate was on, 7-day quantitative precipitation forecast. So there is rain in the forecast up through the 3rd of July. And so about 1/10 to perhaps 1/4 of an inch of rain in our area is still yet to come. I just want to mention that we do know it's going to be hot the next couple of days. As Brad already mentioned, it would be hard for us to get open in the next couple of days anyway. But it is trending down after that. It is going to be cool. Rain is expected. Again, we do believe the conditions are favorable. I want to just point out that we are above normal for rainfall. We've gotten a lot of rain since the 12th. At the last meeting, we mentioned that the rain was coming, and I remember people said, well, we can't look to the rain that's coming, we have to look at the current conditions. If we look at the current conditions now, they're so much more favorable than they were. And when we do our little fire tests, I just want to point out that the last one was taken at 4 p.m. That's a hot time of day, obviously, to take a fire test. It's not unusual for Colorado to get hot. That is June and July. That's what we're always faced with. And so, again, as I close out, I just want to let you know we're here talking about, obviously, our livelihood and small businesses and certainly the nonprofit groups that I mentioned before that are struggling and want to, reach their goals this year. Thank you for your time and allowing us to present kind of our side of things. Appreciate it.
Anyone else like to come forward and speak about fireworks to us? If not, then discussion or comment among commissioners. I do want to say that, go ahead, Commissioner.
I'll just say that the information that I saw last night that was on Fox 31 local news indicated that it was going to be hotter than normal over the next 90 days, but also wetter than normal. So, I'm not sure what you, do with that. If normal is we are semi-arid in this state. And so, and I know that we did not get the snowpack that they had been wanting us to have in the high country that's feeding our streams and our rivers. I was on the western slope last weekend, and Colorado River looked lower than what I remembered from previous years, and I think that that is directly impacting and as a result of the low snowpack. So,
thank you, Commissioner.
I would say at best it's a crapshoot. Yeah.
Any other comments? Questions? Is there anyone that would like to make a motion? Seeing none, no motion is being made, so this measure fails for lack of a motion. Are there any other commissioner comments this morning? If not, this meeting is adjourned.